Pogovor z Jute Guteland, evropsko poslanko Švedske, o pandemiji s koronavirusom. Pozdravljene, cenjene gledalke, spoštovani gledalci v osrednji informativni oddaji Dogodki. Tokrat naš prispevek sega daleč čez mejo in verjamem, da boste tudi to pot z zanimanjem spremljali oddajo. Po umiritvi spomladanske pandemije koronavirusa in poletnega zatišja na jesen število novih okužb hitro narašča in vlade številnih držav po Evropi se zatekajo k ponovnim izrednim razmeram. Simon Balažic se s pomočjo spletne video povezave pogovarja z Jute Guteland, evropsko poslanko Švedske, o razmerah v Skandinaviji.
We had the first wave of corona crisis in the spring. We had a lockdown from 2.5 months here in Slovenia and also in other states. What was your way in Sweden in the first part of this corona crisis?
It was a bit different because Sweden didn't impose any lockdown like many other countries did. On the other hand, there were strong recommendations to the citizens to keep social distancing, wash the hands, teleworking if it's possible, don't travel. And it was also a strong recommendation, of course, to stay home if you felt sick at all. And this was another strategy, but still, I must say, because I was in Sweden the whole time, that people really respected it. And my view is that people took responsible action.
And also the infection rate went down, also in Sweden.
Yeah, you could say, if you look at the statistics, I think one could say that April was a difficult month in Sweden as well for many others. We also had problems with the elderly care. There has been infections in some homes, and there was difficult situation for some of the most vulnerable, the most elderly people. But that being said, I must say that what we see is that the corona is going down, and that at this moment where we are now, Sweden is continuing to have less numbers and a better situation every week right now. The situation right now is optimistic, but of course we need to be aware that it can change. But we have seen a decrease every week for several weeks now. And even though school is open again after the summer, even though people are back in their working places, we have seen a decrease for several weeks. I think the government is not relaxing. They continue to say to people to keep aware, to continue with the good hand hygiene, stay home if you're sick, social distancing, no big events, also teleworking if you can. But the figures are better at the moment than in some other countries. It might be, but it's too early to know, that since we didn't have the lockdown, we don't need the lock-up. We don't need to open up the society again because we have the same measures in a more long-term strategy.
So you didn't have a lockdown. You didn't stop the social life.
Not completely, no. But still, as I mentioned, there was strong recommendation. There were also not allowed to meet more than 50 people. So all big events were, of course, forbidden. But then the recommendations were also quite strong and people respected them. Telework, don't have big dinners with friends, stay home, take care of your health if you're sick, and also make sure that you keep distance with people when you meet them. Don't go too close to people. Have some distance even in the meeting, in the outdoors and in the working place. And I think this recommendation is working in a long-term strategy because it's the same now as it was in May.
what is about the herd immunity against COVID-19? How is high in Sweden? I think in Slovenia is, I don't know, we have some information, 2 or 3%. How is this in Sweden?
I don't have the latest figure on that. I'm very sorry. We need to come back to you on how that looks at the moment. What I know is that the latest news I got is that the health authority did a big investigation how many people got corona, and they had a very good result there when they tested 2,500 people, and no one had it. And I was they just took people in a statistic way to make it as safe as possible. And then I also know that the authority is following the immunity situation, but I heard different figures there, so I don't want to say anything that's wrong. So I keep silent on that.
And how is the border to your neighbors, like Finland and like Norway?
It
Are
has
open
been
or closed? Can people travel?
People have started to travel again. There has been different recommendations for different regions. Sweden is a very big country geographically, so there has been different for different regions, and there are some parts of Sweden who always have been able to travel, and others where there has been border lockdown, or what you say, between the neighbors. But I think it's gradually it's opening.
And you also have this infection rate is going in Sweden, in your country, down at the moment. Is
It's
this okay?
going down at the moment,
But
yeah.
in Slovenia and Croatia and all these states and also Hungary, Austria is going up. So you are
Yes.
going down, we are going up.
Yes.
So this is the difference at the moment.
Yes, but I think it's very important that we don't point finger at each other, not when one country is going up, not when one is going down. And we should also, of course, be humble and say that we don't know. Maybe Sweden will change in a couple of weeks. Maybe there is a reason that we don't know yet why the situation is like this. But there are, at the moment, people in the public discussion in Sweden who is saying that maybe the fact that we didn't lock down means that we don't need to open up the society again. So we can continue the same careful way of keeping distance, washing hands, staying home when you're sick, not have big gatherings. All the measures that we have had the whole time, we continue with them. And that it doesn't make so big change in the society now than a couple of months ago.
And if you have a good immune system, and you get not just coronaviruses, other disease, then you have chance to be healed. But at this crisis, no one is speaking about this. How to do on your immune systems. The people are still going into the fast food restaurants. The people are still eating sugars. The people are still not moving, and so on and so on. And I think the people I think here is big hole that all governments all around the world are not doing on this part of, let's say, of human lives. What do you think about this?
I think maybe you're both correct and maybe not correct in your analysis because there has not been very much focus on health in other aspects, and maybe that's also because we know that this virus is probably rather tough on the lungs, even if you would be very strong. So the corona seemed to even in some young cases be rather tough on your lungs, and even if you have exercised a lot, it can be really tough and very difficult to go back to be as strong as you were before Corona. That being said, it's very clear that if you smoke, you are in higher risk. And that is also saying that if your lungs are infected before by pollution, by tobacco, for example, they are in a higher risk with Corona. And of course, everything you can do to strengthen your body will help you with infections. So yes, I think you're both a bit correct. And then when it comes to the smoking situation, I don't think that you're correct, because I think there has been lots of information on the smoking risk, both in Sweden and in many other countries. And I also heard actually that many people stopped smoking during this year. And this has been a wake-up call for many smokers that if they would like to take care of themselves, it's important to stop smoking.
But I have also another thing about disease, about the cancer. In Slovenia, we have per year more than 6,000 people that are dying because of cancer. And of Corona, we had 133 people dead.
Maybe it's sometimes difficult to compare, since a virus like this could hit in a very big scale if we didn't take measures. So I believe that many of the measures that has been taken, and the recommendations, like in Sweden, has also prevented this infection to be an even bigger killer than it has been. So that is one answer to your question. But that being said, I really believe that we need to do more to prevent cancer and the causes of cancer, and also improve the treatment, of course. This is the big grief for many people in Europe and in our member state, that their relatives and maybe people who are loved get cancer. And this is it's actually unbelievable that we have not managed to do more. I think of all the early deaths in cancer that we really must be able to treat. And in the European Parliament, we have now extra focus on cancer. So we have started this committee that will only deal with cancer, and how to help the member states facilitate, improve, and give recommendations, of course, to the European Commission on what should be done. Europe can help by have coordination, and also when it comes to the rare diseases, some cancer are few people who gets, and they might have bigger threats because they are few and they don't have the best medicine. So I think Europe, by scaling up, by helping each other, we can have better opportunity to treat these difficult and rare cancer tumors.
So if we go back to Corona, what can we expect in the next weeks, months? Winter is coming. What can we expect?
This has been the most difficult question all the time. It's always the question that I think politicians might be a bit scared of, because you say wrong all the time, because it's so difficult. It has been very unpredictable how long this corona crisis would be, and also what we should do, because I don't think people in February this year could have expected that Corona would still be so big now in September. But that being said, I think the fall will continue to be second wave, but maybe and hopefully not in the big scale, more like we see in some communities in the member states. So hopefully the governments can take measures, not for, if they need to do more measures, they can focus on regional areas rather than the whole country. And hopefully we can continue to move a little bit more in Europe again, because it's important for our society to be able to do that. I hope that the schools will be open in all our countries, because the kids, for them, it's actually their childhood. A year is an ocean of time for a kid. I would say for a kid, 1 year can be like 10 years for you and I. So they should not be in lockdown, I believe. I really hope that the governments will do everything to make sure that kids are going to school for their education, for their social growing and opportunity to have friends, and also for the parents' sake. It's very difficult if you're a single mom, for example, to have many kids home and still be able to work. And maybe you leave the kids with your grandmother and she might be vulnerable to corona. So I really hope that the schools will keep open.
When can we expect that this disease, like Corona-19, will end, and we can go to normal life, or this will go on and go on and go on and go on?
I think that in a year from now, I think we will not think about Corona every day. We will still have rest of it by measures still. But we will not, hopefully next summer, think about it every day like we do still.
Do you have some message for the Slovene viewers that will see our interview?
No, I'm just grateful to be able to keep in touch. And I think this is the big thing of the European Union, that we learn from each other and that we stay close to each other.
Spoštovane gledalke in gledalci, v še eni oddaji Dogodki ste na televiziji Jaz zaznali kanček nove in nekoliko drugačne reportaže sogovornico iz daljne Švedske. Zahvaljujem se vam za pozornost in do skorajšnjega snidenja. Srečno!